We haven't had one of these talks in a while. I feel like there's got to be a income level or a net worth level or both that will categorize people and behavior types. I was scrolling my feed on X this morning. I'll see if I can go back and take a screenshot of what it was showing me. But previously, I would use X as a great source, a great tool to bring you guys the latest, most important, at least I thought, news at the time. This was prior to the election. At that time, the media was running cover, or at least in sync, claiming that X was a platform solely promoting and sharing and glamorizing hate. Now, how you describe that based on the definition is up to you, but as I'm scrolling it this morning, it dawns on me there's very little on the platform that I think is even worth sharing that would benefit anyone. There's two reasons for this, I believe. Primarily, it has become less of a resource for valuable information and more of a resource for income generation. When you couple that with it's easier to generate an income off of mindless, almost pointless information that just is more of a scrolling time waster, well, then that begins to take over, becomes the norm. It turns into an echo chamber as you see post after post after post of the same information, the same event, the same 45-second clip, and the same seemingly similar description and title. That gets you nowhere. Except for those who post it on a regular basis and attract the impressions and gain the members and earn the ad revenue and continue on that process. But it's no different than YouTube, really. YouTube, ironically, is still, I think, the premium source for information. News or how-tos or tutorials or whatever it may be. YouTube also seemingly rewards the same bad behavior, depending on how you look at it, because typically how it's viewed is from a vanity metric standpoint, and whoever has the most views and gains the most subscribers is doing the best. Which, much like anything else, you can't necessarily just look at someone and assume that they are rich, or assume that they're wealthy, or assume that they're poor, or assume that they're broke. Making that assumption on your part is superficial, but not helpful or beneficial to you in any way, as someone else's wealth or lack thereof has no bearing, no impact on your life. And if you yourself don't have the wealth, don't have the income, consider yourself to be broke and or living paycheck to paycheck, it should be of even less concern. And so I have to assume that those who are interested in the latest tabloid front page headlining gossip probably won't be interested in the latest with Wall Street, the latest with the stock market, the latest with investing, the latest with small business, the latest with big business, the latest with investing, stocks, being an entrepreneur, passive income, higher level conversations that don't include, did you hear what happened to Diddy? Maybe they've heard, but I can guarantee you it's not their primary concern. It could just be, a way to kill time and chat it up before going into the next board meeting as you discuss your multi seven figure merger that you're about to complete. Oftentimes I read comments and the comments will question the basics of, well, how do I invest? I can't afford to invest. How do I start a YouTube channel? I don't know how to start a YouTube channel. How could anyone afford that? I can't afford that. And this is not a personal attack. This is not a jab of any sort. But at the same time, I'd be willing to bet that the same people who don't know how to do these things and are asking the same questions over and over again of how do I do the seemingly most basic task of improving my own personal wealth and financial situation can tell you everything that's happening in the Diddy trial. It could tell you everything that's happening theoretically in Congress. More so likely with members of Congress being arrested, going to jail, being prosecuted, being criminally charged, being investigated. What good does that do you? How does that improve your overall life? And if you're broke, how does that put money in your pocket or in your bank account? I feel like it's a rhetorical question, but if you want to answer, by all means, go for it. I can tell you guys from a personal standpoint that it doesn't help me. It doesn't improve my life. But for a period of time, it did make me a lot of money. And now I want to make more money. And I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not ashamed to say that. I want to make more money. I want to make enough money to not have to work anymore. Ever. I want to make enough money to never have to work ever again. That doesn't mean I'll stop working. It just means I won't have to. There's a difference. Work is a interesting term and concept because in theory what I was doing was supposed to not feel like work. And then somewhere along the line, it did start to feel like work. And that's probably why I've just been less than enthusiastic about any of it at all. Now, granted, at the time when I felt extremely unenthusiastic about it, my average monthly income was probably 40 or 50,000 a month. So I was like, well, I'm not really enthusiastic about it, but I mean, in a few months, you're able to make a lot of damn money. Why not? You'd be crazy not to. And in fact, I saw some people who chose not to, and I got to say that was crazy because the door was open, the opportunity was there. I don't know how you couldn't take it. Some people didn't. Maybe they didn't see it. Maybe they missed it. That's a interesting topic we need to discuss. The problem with it, though, is that if you seize that opportunity, you take that, and then once that subsides, once that has run its course, well, where are you? Where are you after that? And so yesterday, I slowed it way down. And I made I made a lot of changes yesterday. And I'm continuously making more changes, and I'm continuously rethinking, and I'm continuously trying to grow and build and progress, while also getting to the point of never having to work ever again. Doesn't mean I won't. But the role in which I choose to occupy my time outside of pure leisure would be primarily to help other people get to wherever they want to be in life. And I highly doubt, knowing the latest about Diddy, knowing the latest about Letitia James, knowing the latest about whatever Democrat or Republican congressman or president or presidential nominee candidate will have zero bearing on that for the most part. You know, the idea that buying an American-made vehicle and its interest on the loan, if finance, could be tax deductible, maybe. But let's be honest. How much money are you going to spend on an American-made vehicle? At most, $200,000, maybe. At most, $250,000. On average, $80,000 probably. Not the average price of a new car being 45-ish. No, because nobody wants that junk. You're going to want a nice car. You're going to want a nice truck. You're going to probably spend about $80,000, $100,000, maybe $120,000. Will you finance it? Maybe. You go out and you buy a car for $40,000. You're going to finance it? Most people would probably say yes. Because at that price point, you can barely afford it as it is. But for the people looking to spend $100,000 on a vehicle, maybe even their second vehicle, is just like, this is not my daily driver. They've got the money and they may not finance it. Let alone how the tax laws work and brackets and standard deductions and itemized. We get into the weeds on that. But for the most part, the noise, scrolling the feeds, what everybody's talking about, it's just to put butts in the seats. And, these butts in the seats, they pay by the head. It's not general admission. So, if you can get enough people to show up, you can make some good money. Or you can get less people to show up to a better show, charge more for them to be there, and build upon that for yourself and for them. Like I said, there were people out there that missed the opportunity to make, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And they just missed it. They have YouTube channels, they post videos, and they completely missed it. And I don't know if they didn't see it, or they didn't know, or they ignored it. I don't know. But I will say this. If you were talking to me, if you were in communication with me, if you were a part of my mastermind, if you were in my circle, if we were friends, there's no way you couldn't have known. Because I would have told you. Part of some of the changes I made yesterday were to Patreon. And Patreon is a home for people who want that information, people who want to know how to use that information, people who want to go from tired of being broke and living paycheck to paycheck to, I've got breathing room. I've got money. I've got a business. I've got a future. Alex Hormozy, I caught one of his clips yesterday, and he says, if you're not making $100,000 a day in your business, then you need to do this. I'm like, wait, I don't have a business. So I can't do that. This or that is a fill in the blank. And I'll share that with you guys over on Patreon. But I said, well, I need a business. So I built a business yesterday. I built a business. And now I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that thing that's going to make my business make $100,000 a month. At the very least. I'm going to do it. I'm actually going to show other people how to do it too. And then I woke up this morning after making these changes yesterday and having these ideas and these thoughts. And I said, wait, I've always had a business. And I've always had a way of generating $100,000 a month. I just needed to think about it a little bit differently and attack it a little bit differently. And here we are, folks. So now, on top of the business I built yesterday, I also have the business that I already had that I kind of overlooked. Now I have two businesses that can both generate $100,000 a month, and I can make $200,000 a month or more. But how am I going to do it? Well, I'll tell you exactly how. There's a link in the description. Join Patreon, join the business strategy and YouTube mastery, and I'll tell you exactly how. But the how can be different for everybody. The concept itself is pretty much, it's simple. It's self-explanatory. My coffee's ready. I got to go. But I've seen others do it. They're actually doing it to this day. They're doing it right now. And I've got a few stories pulled up on my phone that interest me, that are of far greater value than the latest TMZ gossip and drama. They benefit me from more ways than one: mentally, emotionally, like financially. It's beneficial all the way around. For anyone who chooses to consume this, it will benefit them as well, if they so choose. If they choose not to get value out of it, that's them, because they could choose to get value out of Kid Cudi, Diddy, Cassie drama, and baby oil. To each their own. I'm trying to make more money. I'm trying to build wealth. I'm trying to build businesses. I'm trying to build giant passive income streams, and I'm trying to build an exit strategy. And I'm trying to get other people to do the same, or at least trying to show them how. And so now I have to decide, well, maybe I do decide, maybe I do both. Do I package it and present it for those who are interested in going down, like if we had a fork in the road, or if you wanted to take the red pill or the blue pill, or if whatever, you have a choice to make: door number one and door number two. Or do I present it to the people who are literally sitting there saying, I want to be better, I want to grow, I want to make money, I want to build wealth, I want to be rich, whatever that means? Or do I package it for the people who say, I just want to waste my time, I just want to know the latest gossip and drama, I just want to numb my mind and get through the day? And either way, I could tell the same information. I could walk down the street, I could have a nice sunny day, background behind me, I could put some sunglasses on, wear a tank top, and tell you all the latest about every news story and headline, and only give you the negative, only give you the bad, because that's all you want. Or I could give you the same information, the same stories, the facts, the truth, the information, and how to use it to benefit you and others and grow from it. I've got a choice to make. I've got a decision to make, or I'll just do both. And I can guarantee you, if I do both, I will figure out which one is the most profitable, which one is the most effective to accomplish every goal that I have. And then I'll just double down on that. I'll do the thing that Alex Hormozi said to do to get your business to $100,000 a month, bare minimum. What I won't do is attempt to convince anyone that they're capable of doing anything that they already know that they can't. But what I will do is share this with everyone. And if they're interested and they want to grow and they want to build wealth and they want to have someone on their side who will give it to them straight, who has accomplished many of these goals and is continuously working towards more, then the link down below to Patreon and the business strategy and YouTube mastery it's open for you. It's not a course. It's not a scam. It's you investing in yourself, not only by signing up, but by engaging and showing up week after week for the conversations, for the mastermind, holding yourself accountable and taking action day to day. It works, but it only works if you do. And I'm going to continue to make this work by doing the things that need to be done so that I never have to work another day of my life. That doesn't mean I'll just stop. That doesn't mean I'll just quit. Doesn't mean I'll just 100% throw my feet up and retire. It just means my life is even more free. And I have even greater flexibility and ability to do whatever it is I want. Theoretically, at a young age, when I'm still pretty active, pretty mobile. I'm 40, but hopefully I got a lot of life left in me. And so to spend, a couple years grinding now, to spend 10 years traveling the world later, yeah, all day. All right, guys, I'm gonna go drink my coffee.